Hey everyone, today we'll be doing another lead code 118 Pascal's triangle, one of the most like problems out there and one of my favorite problems. In this problem, we will be given the number of rows. For example, here number of rows 5 and we have to make them in a triangle like this, not certainly in a triangle, but this will be a list of lists. For example, one here is a separate list. Second step, one has its separate list. One is a separate list, and so on. So we'll be incrementing a list within a list at each step, and these lists will have an index increment at every step. For example, step 2 have two indexes, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got the idea. So now we can see that we have one at the very beginning and one at the very end of the list. So to think of it, we will just be taking the reference of the previous list, taking reference peaking, you can say, and adding those variables, and not adding appending those variable indices, elements at the certain index to the next, appending them to the next row. So for example, here we can imagine there is 0 and there is 0 at the very left and right. So we'll be adding them 101 and 101, and after this we will just go 1 1 2 and 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 and 1 2 3. Yes, that's how it goes. So we'll be creating a list of the list starting from the very beginning, because obviously it will start from the very beginning by having one in it. Angle, triangle. We'll be having a list of the list 1 for I in range. For I in range, num rows minus 1. Uh, we might we subtracted by 1 because obviously we have made our first row here. And now what we will be doing is just making a temporary temporary list and taking the reference of the previous triangle. For example, in this case uh, we will just be adding 1 uh, 0 0. So we will be adding 0 and 1. We'll be getting 1 like here in the second row, and now in the next step we will be adding 0 and 1, which will also be giving 1. But in the next iteration, we will have the reference of the previous row, which will be 1, which will be this, and we will be adding this will add 1 at the very beginning, if you think of it like this, and 2 here, 1, and this will be its form, obviously having 0 at the very beginning and 0 at the very end. I think you got the idea how it works, and this is just looping through, and we will be looping through another variable. And now what we'll be doing is making our original, this was temporary, this is our original row. Now for j in range, now we'll be taking the reference of the previous triangle and adding it by 1, because as I said before, the number of indices increase at each step. The third list will have 3, fourth list will have 4, 5, fifth list will have 5. So uh, we will be append temp j and temp j plus 1. Like I said here, I 0 and 1. So what we are doing in this step is adding 0 and 1, and in the next iteration we will be adding 1 and its next 0. When it comes to the second step, we will be having 0 at the very first, 1 here and 0, and we will be looping through. And in the third step we will have 2 2 1 0. I think you got the idea how it works here. Now what we'll be doing is just appending this row in the final triangle. The triangle will take this row in it because the triangle itself is the list of the list. This list can contain multiple lists. So appending row in the triangle, and after all of this we will just return triangle, triangle, and that's it. Let's see if there are any errors in this code. I don't think so, but there is an error. Oh yeah, I wrote 1 plus 1 here. Not I have to write it outside the function, not inside. This works fine, and now let's submit it, and that's it.